Let's face it, playing with the metronome sucks. You know it, I know it, world-class musicians probably know it too. I don't know anybody who likes to play with a metronome, but I do know that when I sit down and I take the time and I use the metronome the way it's supposed to be used, I find myself becoming a better guitar player and a better musician. I'm Tony G, and today I'm going to walk you through how to play with the metronome 101 and how, hopefully, to make it less painful. So first of all, pro tip, on your metronome app, I use one on my phone, I change my tone to drums, so it's so much more tolerable versus the beep boop beep boop beep boop of the standard metronome. So this is what mine sounds like. Sounds like I'm just playing with somebody smashing a snare drum, and I think that is so much more effective. So, a metronome counts beats per minute. Essentially, if we put it down to 60, that will play 1 beat per second, because that's 60 beats per minute. There are 60 seconds in there, and thus we have 1 beat every second. It's a quite slow tempo, but this is essentially our beats per minute at 60. We can raise that tempo, say go up to like 75, 76 here, and you can tell that now we have to fit 76 beats in per minute, so therefore it's going to get a little bit faster. Here we go up to 90, 100, 120, so now we're at double the speed of 60. Metronomes are also cool because they can do what's called subdividing, which means they can count the space in between notes for us. So for example, if I'm set back at 90 BPM and I have it set to quarter notes, these are our quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But there's space in between. We have eighth notes and we also have 16th notes. So on my metronome app, I can actually subdivide to smaller increments. So here are the eighth notes. So this is what eighth note sounds like at 90. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you hear that hi-hat? That is the and. That's the space exactly in the middle of beats, of the quarter note beats. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now if I didn't have the subdivision going, I could still count that in my head. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But you might want to start off by using a metronome that can subdivide if you're trying to play an 8th note lick or maybe even a 16th note lick so that the metronome can do the subdivision for you so you don't have to. Okay, Tony G, I hear you saying to yourself right now, now I know what a metronome does, how do I find the BPM of what I'm trying to play? That's a great question, and to be honest, this is probably the hardest step. So, when we're trying to listen to something, we need to try to find the beat. So we have to find those quarter notes or maybe those eighth notes. So right now, I'm going to give you a live example listening to one of my songs from my band, One Way Ride. Let's check it out.
The junkie robs a man for the shoes on his feet. Got hooked on Demerol, but smack so damn cheap.
So right there, I just found the rhythm of the song. I found that driving quarter note beat. The coolest thing about that is that now I can use my metronome. I have this fancy one. It has a tap option, and you can find these online as well. I can tap my metronome along to that song to find the BPM of that song. So I'm going to continue playing this song here, and I'm going to tap into my metronome.
Lost wife, kids, and his job, and the rent was due last week. Now we stalk city streets, craving what he needs.
Okay, so what I found is that it's about 96 BPM. And actually, I know that off the top of my head because we set that tempo before we recorded it. However, now I have it at 96 BPM. Now I can play my metronome. And now we have the tempo of that song. And we can work on learning how to play that song to this tempo. So again, it's not really that easy to find this. In fact, if you're not really a great dancer because you have a hard time finding the beat, this will be a difficult process for you. But the more you try it, the more that you will find yourself just kind of settling into that groove and finding that beat. So just imagine every time you're listening to something, however you kind of bob your head to it or however your body kind of moves to it, that is our tempo. That's our beat. So now that I've tapped along to that tempo, I can play that tempo and then I can play along with that. However, this is where practicing with the metronome comes in. Sure, I can play at 96 if I want to, because it's at 96 BPM, but what if I can't play that fast yet? What if I can only play it at 66? Well, that's totally fine. That is the purpose of playing with the metronome. We are going to find a baseline tempo where we can play it with the 3 C's, so again, clean, correct, and consistent. And we're going to make sure that once we have it at that baseline tempo, that we can slowly up the speed. When we slowly up that speed, we can maintain that consistency and the correct way to play it. And we can just really bring up that speed slowly so that you can eventually take all of your good muscle memory and your techniques and habits up to that target BPM. You don't want to try to just play it at the full tempo if you can't do it right off the bat. It's like beating your head against a wall. You don't want to do that. I don't want to see you just trying and failing, because that's not going to help you get better. You're going to develop bad habits, bad muscle memory, and bad technique. And I don't want that. You don't want that. Nobody wants that. So find the baseline tempo and then work your way up. I'm going to show you exactly what we mean right now. Okay, so I'm going to be playing an exercise for you. I'm just going to play a basic scale. I'm going to play my minor pentatonic scale in A. All right, so we have... pretty standard scale that most guitar players know. So I'm going to set my metronome at 120 because I'm trying to work up to 150, and I can't quite play it at 150, but I can play it at 120. So I'm going to show you what this looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and start my metronome at 120. Okay, and I'm just going to play this scale at 120. Okay, I can do that, no problem. Now we're going to increase the tempo by only a few BPM. So now I'm going to go to 123 just to make sure that I'm maintaining my good techniques, my good habits, my good muscle memory. Here we go. If you're listening to it, it's really not that much faster. 3 BPM is not a lot to add on. So this is a really good way for us to kind of start very incrementally increasing our tempo. Here we go, and... Yes! Okay, so I've played at 123. Now imagine that I've done this, let's say 10 times, well, let's say 8 times maybe, and now I'm up to my target tempo of 150. Okay, so here it is at 150, and I've been working really hard on this. I've been going in gradual increments, and now I can play it at 150. Here we go, and... So we really want to go slowly. I don't want you to be able to play it at 120 and then think that you can play at 150. If 120 is your baseline, we are going to go slowly and incrementally up to 150 because we're going to maintain those habits and that muscle memory and those techniques as you go up. I promise you that if you do it this way, you'll get it so much cleaner at 150 than if you just set your tempo at 150 and just start to try to reach that tempo when you can't do it cleanly, consistently, and correctly at the beginning. So take my word on it, because I've done the bashing your head against the wall technique and it doesn't work. It does, but it's sloppy. It takes a long time. You develop bad habits. So let's just skip that step and go straight to the good stuff. By the way, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. If you don't like it, leave me a comment. Tell me why it sucks. That's fine. I'm looking for feedback. I'm a guitar teacher, but I'm not perfect. I want to hear from you about how you think that I'm doing, because I always want to improve my teaching techniques so that you can benefit. Some practice tips for you are not to push it too hard. There's a good chance that you won't be able to go from 120 to 150 in one day of practice, and that's okay. You're going to notice that as you increase tempo, you're going to feel more fatigued. You're going to run out of stamina faster. That's because you're working your muscles more. Imagine like going to the gym. When you're trying to bench press, you can't just continually go up in weight in one sitting. You need to do that gradually over time. So if you find that you're at your base tempo and you've been adding on and you just hit this wall and you just can't go past it, no problem. Just put the guitar down for a little bit and then come back to it later or the next day. You're going to be increasingly building up your stamina and endurance as you do these exercises as well, which is just going to help you in the long run. So don't feel like you have to reach your target BPM in the first 20 minutes of trying. Give it time, give it space, let your muscles recoup. This is also really going to help you find your ups and downs. You're going to find what parts you're great at in your lick or your riff or your practice exercise that you're doing, because you're going to find that you might rush or be right on target with a lot of parts that you're good at, and you might stumble or fall behind a little bit on the parts that you're not so good at. That's okay, because this is showing you what parts you're great at and what parts need work. So the most important thing that I can tell you is that you always want to set your baseline tempo to whatever needs the most improvement. Don't set it to the tempo of what you can play well, because what you can't play as well as that is going to suffer from that. That's going to also kind of take that bashing your head against the wall approach. So again, the most important tip is to set your baseline BPM at the part that you are not the best at. I don't want to say worst at, but not the best at. That's going to really help you get that part up to snuff with your other parts that you're really great at. And then once you can improve the not so great part to the great parts, then you can gradually increase that BPM completely, and eventually you're going to catch up to the parts that you can play really well. So take it from me. I've done this the wrong way too many times. I'm telling you the truth here. Try it out. You're going to find some huge success. So for my final thoughts, every world-class musician uses a metronome. Every musician that you probably aspire to be like, or that you want to be able to play like, or that you just really enjoy listening to, they probably practice with a metronome. And again, it's not the most glamorous part of the guitar world or the musician world in general, but it will make you such a better guitar player. I know this from experience, and I know it from other musicians' experience as well. Whether you just want to learn how to play some songs, sing along to some songs, form a band, jam with other people, or play along with backing tracks, playing with the metronome will help you so much. I promise you this. So really, I just want you to put in 1 week of metronome practice and then leave a comment below and tell me if you improved or not. Heck, start with your BPM that you started with and then show me what target BPM you've reached. I'm really interested to know how far you can go in 1 week. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here as always. Again, my name is Tony G from guitarwithtonyg.com, and please leave me any kind of feedback, because I want to learn how to serve your needs better, and I want to make you the guitar player that you want to be. So check out my website, like and subscribe, dislike, comment, tell me what a bunch of trash this video is. I don't care. I just want to know how I can help you. I'll see you guys soon.